Welcome to TBP Insights. Today's episode, we're going to look at the button three-way. The button three-way is a very, very unique position when it comes to spinning goes. It's the one position in the game whereby we don't have to invest chips into the pot if we don't want to. So if we're playing in the small blind, if we're playing in the big blind, then automatically, half of the blind or a big blind is taken from our stack, and there's no way around this. Now, when it comes to the button, we have complete control as to what range we want to play and whether we want to play the hand at all. So with this in mind, generally we play a very strong value range from the button in order to maximize our chip EV and maximize value from playing post flop with the stronger range. The beauty of playing from the button as well is we are always in position. So regardless of whether we're playing versus one opponent or it's a multi-way pot, we will always be in position with the stronger range. So this is the area of the game whereby, especially when it comes to the metrics of three-way and where our chip EV is derived from, we will earn the majority of our three-way chips from the button. So it is important that we play this position correctly. With this in mind, we're just going to discuss briefly what kind of range we play from the button. So in general, we play a 40% VPIP. So 16 big blind plus, we're playing 40% of our hands. Now, this does differentiate from player to player. Some players prefer to cut a few combinations, so they play around, a 36%, 38%, etc. The biggest piece of advice would be, if you're playing versus recreational opponents, so if you're at the lower stakes, maximize the button. So I think it's a major mistake to be playing much less than 40% VPIP from the button, just purely because you're playing versus two opponents who are weaker than you, and you're in position, and you're opening a strong range. This is a real key way to maximize value in this kind of games. So if you are cutting your VPIP quite a lot from this 40% marker, have a look at GTO Wizard, have a look at the button opening range there, and look to increase or look to include the combinations which you're currently folding, and then see how it goes. And I think you'll be shocked at the potential increase to win rate you can achieve here, as long as obviously you're not making mistakes post flop. But this isn't the video for that. We play a very linear and top heavy range. So effectively what we're doing is we're just min raise fold. 16 big blinds plus. We don't need to increase sizing, etc. We'll discuss that later. And generally, if you're playing shallower, so if you're playing at like 11 or 12 big blinds, then you're going to have some folds, you're going to have some min raise, and you're going to have some jams. So it's important to understand these ranges and play them correctly. Now, when it comes to things that we should never do when playing the button pre-flop, the first thing is limping. So one of the easiest ways to spot a recreational at the table is limping. And they do this because they don't understand the concept of the button play. So they're either limping, trash hands, they're limping very strong hands, which they hope to call versus an ISO jam, or they're totally random. For us, we don't do this. We don't need to complicate or balance a strategy here. Min raise fold is completely fine, 16 big blinds plus. Another thing you'll see from recreational players is an increased raise size. So you might see 3x, 3.5x, 4x, etc., etc. This is just kind of natural to them. For us, we don't need to do this. So when we play two big blind min raise, we've kind of got our balance strategy, right? The minute we start to increase sizings, then we need to change the metrics of this strategy. And when it comes to, having strategy in various different positions in spins, if we can simplify certain positions and still maximize EV, then we should look to do so. And the button is one of the positions we can do this from. The final tip we want to provide today is when playing versus recreationals, you may find that you min raise from the button, and in the small blind, they click it back to 3 big blinds, for example, or they click it back to 4 big blinds. This is never a situation whereby we want to look to fold, especially if it's playing just versus one player. And the reason for this is we're already opening up a strong range anyway, and we would make a very big mistake mathematically if we then folded our 2 big blinds when all we need to do is invest another additional big blind or another additional 2 big blinds, because folding out the dead money that we've already invested doesn't make any sense. The only takeaway from this is if a recreational does this pre-flop, then you can expect aggression from the post-flop. So as long as we don't make any mistakes post-flop and play at ABC, then calling here is much, much, much more EV than making a big mistake of folding. But obviously just play it smart post-flop and play your normal strategy post. That's it for today's video. We will be back in the future with more episodes. So yeah, good luck.